Plainfield, Wisconsin, the place where the infamous serial killer Ed Gein killed and committed grave robbing, necrophilia, and cannibalism. Also known as the Plainfield Butcher, his obsession with his mother is loosely based in the movie Psycho, 1960 by Alfred Hitchcock. Gein was born in La Crosse Country, Wisconsin, on August 27, 1906, the second of two boys of George Philip Gein and Augusta Wilhelm Gein. Had an elder brother, Henry George Gein. Augusta hated her husband, an alcoholic who was unable to keep a job. He had worked at various times as a carpenter, tanner, and insurance salesman. George owned a local grocery shop for a few years, but sold the business and left the family. The family left to the city to live in isolation on a 155-acre farm in the town of Plainfield, Wisconsin, which became Gein's permanent home. Augusta took advantage of the farm's isolation by turning away outsiders who could have influenced her sons. Gein left the farm only to attend school. Outside of school, Gein spent most of his time doing chores on the farm. Augusta was fervently religious and nominally Lutheran. She preached to her boys about the infinite immortality of the world, the evil drinking, and the belief that all women, apart from herself, were naturally promiscuous and instruments of the devil. She reserved time every afternoon to read them the Bible, usually selecting verses from the Old Testament and the book of Revelation concerning death, murder, and divine retribution. Gein was shy, and classmates and teachers remembered him as having strange mannerisms such as seemingly random laughter, as if he were laughing at his own personal jokes. To make matters worse, Augusta punished him whenever he tried to make friends. Despite his poor social development, Gein did fairly well in school, particularly in reading. Debate and diplomacy. Robert Bloch lived in Wisconsin, only 35 miles from the shocking murderer Ed Gein, who was arrested in 1957 for killing 2 women. What made these murders so horrifying are the discoveries the police made in Gein's home, where they found furniture, silverware, and even clothing made from human skin, giving plenty of reasons to call him the Butcher of Plainfield. Before Alfred Hitchcock made Psycho into a movie, it was a very disturbing novel by writer Robert Bloch. When Gein was arrested, Bloch knew the vague story of what had happened, picking up on detail he had read that the psychiatrist suspected Gein's clothing was made of women's skin was the purpose of pretending that he was his recently deceased mother. Bloch wrote a story about a man obsessed with his mother. When sordid details of Gein's past came to light, Bloch was surprised on how Norman Bates seemed to match. How closely Norman Bates seemed to match. Psycho, American suspense film and psychological thriller, released in 1960, was directed by Alfred Hitchcock and is loosely based on the real-life killings of Wisconsin serial murderer Ed Gein. A lot of similarities were seen with Norman Bates and Ed Gein, aka like the killer of the movie. Both Gein and Norman carried out their killings in rural areas. They also had oppressive mothers who created shrines for, and they each wore women's clothes. The film was based on the novel by Robert Bloch. Details such as Marion's beheading was in the novel, but not in the movie. She was stabbed to death, but not beheaded. A big debate is how closely Gein and Norman really are. Your mother is always your best friend, because in the end, All those murders were from fear of his mother. Boys have another special connection with their mother that passes to another woman eventually.
No, I tell you, no. I won't have you bringing strange young girls in for supper. By candlelight, I suppose, in the cheap erotic fashion of young men with cheap erotic minds.
Mother, please.
And then what? After supper, music, whispers?
Mother, she's just a stranger. She's hungry and it's raining out.
Mother, she's just a stranger. As if men don't desire strangers. As if... Oh, I refuse to speak of disgusting things because they disgust me. You understand, boy? Go on, go tell her she'll not be appeasing her ugly appetite with my food or my son. Or do I have to tell her because you don't have the guts? Huh, boy? You have the guts, boy?
Shut up! Shut up!